Well, it's 9 o'clock and we're just leaving this lovely little campsite at Gayndah Gorge. Beautiful little place. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit further away from Brisbane than I actually thought, so I was going to stay another day, but I think I'll move a little bit further down the track to try and keep my timetable with Ryan. It's very hazy just outside of Monto. I don't know, it looks actually like smoke, and maybe there's somebody been burning off, and it's quite still this morning, so the smoke seems to be hanging in the air. At least I think it's smoke. I'd hate to think that it was pollution. Well, I actually bypassed Mundubbera because it was a little kink in the road, and the signpost told me that from here I'm 405 k's from Brisbane. Now that's Brisbane proper, so you know that's the equivalent basically of Albany to Perth, which we do in about 4.5 hours or so. So I'm just moseying on down the road here to see what else is around. I did say to Ryan that I'd get there on probably Monday, because he's working today, tomorrow and Monday. So I'm sort of just now scouting out a place to stay, perhaps overnight. We're sort of in the heart of Queensland now. Well, the southern middle part, I guess. This is between Mundubbera and Gayndah, Gayndah. I just looked at my HEMA maps on the thing here. This is a little town called Wivenhoe, and there is a very severe turn to the right at the end of this roadway here, which is what these warning signs are all about. Wivenhoe. Gayndah and Gummery. Well, there you go. Down out of the hills now, down onto the flatland apparently. Still a few k's outside Gayndah. Well, this is us coming into Gayndah, and Gayndah is claiming to be the oldest town in Queensland. Now that's pretty something. Crikey, the one thing that I have noticed about this little place as soon as I got in here is the number of Nissan Navaras and Nissans around. This must be a Nissan town. Wow. I'm so cynical. Whoop. I just want to find somewhere to pull up and get my bearings before I go on to Gummery, which is 100 kilometres away. We might just pull up over here a minute. Now while I get my bearings. I've just found my way to the Bjelke Petersen Dam, which is alleged to have some caravan or camping sites. So this is going to be interesting to see. This is what being the Premier of a state like Queensland can bring you. This is the Bjelke Petersen Dam, named after the ex or late Premier of Queensland, Bjelke Petersen, and I don't know whether this dam was named in his honour, but it's certainly near Kingaroy, which was the heart of his electorate. We'll show you what else is up here in a few minutes, but this is the dam, but it looks very shallow at the moment. I'm standing on the boat ramp and the boat ramp finishes. I'm standing at the edge of the water now, and I would probably be a good 2-3 metres from the edge of that boat ramp up there. So this would have been or is a spectacular lake when it's full. But unfortunately, they haven't had an awful lot of rain by the look of it to fill it. Yet I bet it's easy to catch the fish if the pelicans are anything to go by. Whew. Forgive me if I'm puffing, I've just walked all the way up the hill from that boat ramp. But over there in the distance, this is the facilities at this Bjelke Petersen Dam. In the background behind those trees and to the left of that caravan are the ensuite cabins. And then we move on to the powered sites, and of course I'm in the cheap seats because I don't need power, so I'll take you to where I am in a few minutes. Camper's kitchen. All mod cons, both ends. Toilets. Ooh, very flash. And right up there, where that gentleman is walking, is yours truly's tent. I've got a long way to go to the conveniences, but then I don't care. Well, it's a very chilly morning here in Barnaba, or the Joe Bjelke Petersen Dam campsite. Everything is freezing. It was 1.4 degrees. I've just had a shower, which was hot, thank goodness. But have a look at the camp. It's all covered in fog. Brilliant. What a wet start to the day. Well, we've left the Bjelke Petersen Dam campsite and now heading towards Greenbank. And it's a lovely morning, but by God it was cold. 1.4 degrees this morning and everything is damp and wet. So when I get to Ryan's I'll have to open the tent up and air it out and dry it out. Little town of Blackbutt. And there's everything happening. There's the Lions Sunday Markets. Beautiful little place this. Blackbutt. Put that one on your list. Lovely little drive through here between Blackbutt and Esk. We're heading towards a little place called Esk. Now we're on a very steep 3-kilometre descent. Towns called Moore, M-O-O-R-E. We're about 109 k's out of Ipswich, so those people, I guess, from Ipswich can do a little day trip and come up here. Very nice. This is Toogoolawah. I love these names. Toogoolawah. And I just passed the local airstrip where there's skydivers. They do a bit of skydiving around here. Great name, Toogoolawah. Sorry, I said it wrong. It's Toogoolawah. Toogoolawah, T-O-O-G-O-O-Lawah, Toogoolawah. Esk. This is Esk. Of course, it being a Sunday, everybody is probably out on their Sunday drives, even the boys on the bikes. Lots of tourists, including me. Markets and galleries, all sorts of things. Yeah, it's just wonderful. Now I have to find, I don't know if you can see it, but over to the left is the a dam. I can't quite remember the name of it. I just saw it there on the thing. Anyway, that looks like it could be the main water storage for Brisbane. I'm not sure. I'll have to find that out. Wivenhoe Dam or something. Anyway, it's pretty spectacular. I'm driving over the causeway now, as you can see. I suppose, yeah, this will be the dam wall. And we're about 45 k's out of Ipswich. But the dam looks fairly well down, water level wise. Cool. We left Ryan's now about 3/4 of an hour ago. It's now 7:30, about 7:15, and we're just passing the area of the Amby Air Force Base, and we're heading towards Toowoomba, and we're in koala country apparently. Isn't that exciting? This is Rosewood. Now we're going to turn right because we're heading up towards the
School Street, Grantchester.
Marburg.
Continue 1.3 kilometers.
Actually on the Cobb & Co tourist drive. This is the Grantham or Laidley Road, Grantchester Laidley Road, and off to the right somewhere over there would be the A5 motorway, which I'm trying to avoid at all costs because I don't want to be on it. Well, we left Grantchester and we're still sort of paralleling the main highway, motorway, and there's some beautiful little cuttings and forested bits that you probably wouldn't see from the motorway. That's the whole point of getting off it. We're heading towards the little township of Gatton. This is the Gatton Laidley Road. Looks like a vegetable growing area here. Yep. Lots of big booms with irrigation fixtures and things attached to them. College View, this little area is called College View. That's interesting. I've just passed the University of Queensland Institute of Research for this area, obviously Agricultural Research Institute. Very good. Warrego Highway, 3k's to Toowoomba, and it's a very steep climb. It's a 10% gradient climb. So we've left Toowoomba, which is a fairly large-ish city. And we're now driving on the Warrego Highway on the Darling Downs. This used to be very famous for its bacon. Piggeries, Darling Downs bacon. So this is the road. Well, I'm afraid I can't recommend the Warrego Way or the A2 in Queensland, which sort of comes between Toowoomba and Roma. It's a very boring road. There are very, very few rest stops. Mind you, I just passed a sign that said there's one in 20k's, but of course that's in Chinchilla, which is a town. I'm talking about rest stops along the way. Very uninteresting, dull and flat. This is the town of Warrego, and there apparently is a rest point ahead, which I might stop at and have a cup of coffee. Town in Queensland with a great name, Chinchilla. I might have to get fuel over here, I think, for a while. Yeah. On to Roma. Chinchilla seems to be thriving. There's a lot of people. Oh, there's a big watermelon. You might have missed that. I just saw a big watermelon. Of course, it's a Saturday, and there's a lot of people out, obviously, on their weekends. Quite a big place. Now we're heading towards Roma. Maybe I was a little bit unfair on the Warrego Way. I've just left a little place called Miles, which is between Chinchilla and Roma. I'm on my way to Roma, which is 125k's away. And this is a nice stretch of road. It's very interesting, and it's bushy. It's got trees on either side, and more the type of road that I sort of like driving on. Anyway, we shall see how it progresses. Come across all these little hamlets. This is a place called Drillham, and of course you have to slow down to 70, which feels like you're walking. Historical places. Drillham looks like a ghost town. I don't think anybody's here. Another crazy little town with a crazy little name. This is Toogoolawah. And you can camp behind the pub if you want, but I don't think so tonight. This cloud here has followed me for ages, literally ages, and I was on a really long straight stretch of road that you could see for miles, and he didn't want to pass, and just before we get to a bend the clown decides to pass. What a wanker! I just rocked up to this little campsite called Judd's Lagoon. It's about 60k's out of Roma. I decided not to go. And these boys are having a bit of trouble skylarking, and one of them's bogged his, looks like a Toyota Hilux, and they're having all sorts of trouble trying to get it out. I've got a chain on it. Gentlemen, start your engine. See if it'll still go.
Oh well, that's the end of the day's entertainment by the look of it.
I think so.
Going well. This has been going on for a while. It's been good, hasn't it? Yeah, it's been
We're leaving our little campsite at Uleba. It's called Judd's Lagoon, and it's about 4 kilometres off the road. And here my GPS telling me to get back onto the track. Very pleasant little spot, not an awful lot of water in it, surprisingly. I thought half of these places would have water in it because of that cyclone that was up in Townsville a few months ago, but obviously not. Very, very dried up on that one. On the road, all the carrion eaters were out there feeding, having breakfast. This is the actual town, little town of Uleba, which is 60 k's from Roma. I've just left Roma, which is a fairly sizable town out here in the outback, and didn't take any footage of it. Filled up fuel, and now we're on our way to Morven, and then we will turn right and head north towards Longreach. But before we get to Longreach, we're going to go to Augathella. So that's Augathella is about 265. And this is a compact little rig towing the runabout vehicle. We'll get past. Slightly slower than I am. Learner driver just passed. Those two. If I didn't back off, I'd have been into it. Another groovy little town called Muckadilla. Muckadilla. I love these names. Brilliant. Sunday morning in Muckadilla. Well, now we're out into the wide open spaces again. Oh, here's somebody going to come up and pass me. Yeah. there's probably a wallaby or a kangaroo or something knocked over. It'll make a liar of me now, but I've just passed through probably about 5 or 6 k's, and there was just littered with wildlife on the road, dead, roadkill. The colour of the soil is just beginning to start to get that little red tinge about it the further west I head. Roadkill here at the railway crossing. Carcasses everywhere. Smorgasbord for crows. This is the town of Mitchell. And there's plenty of water in that river to the side. Anything, so we'll just carry on through. This clown here just saw me coming and pulled right out in front of me. I hope he's got his foot down then. Earlier on, I think that I couldn't recommend this Warrego Way because it was very dull and boring and flat, but like everything else in this country, the further west you go, the more appealing this country becomes to me personally. You know, if you look at the side, it's quite an interesting sort of bushy type environment now, as distinct from the plains. We came through the western downs, I think they call it, which is basically all fairly flat farmland, and this is far more interesting country, so we'll give it a tick as far as the Warrego Way is concerned now. This is another little hamlet called Mungalala, apparently. Yeah, Mungalala. Caravan park over there. Wow. Yeehaw. we'll be making a deviation to the right on the A2 or Warrego Highway towards Longreach. I'm not going to go all the way out through to Charleville. We're going to head to Augathella when the road is open, apparently, so that's good. There says, watch out for wildlife. The road off to the left there takes you to Charleville on the Alt A2, but we're heading through to Augathella and Barcaldine. I think that's how you pronounce it, Barcaldine, and heading towards Longreach. Here's a sign. Tambo 205, Barcaldine 413, Mount Isa 1167. Long way. I leave Morven. I think it was Morven where I was. And there's nobody behind me, and all of a sudden I'm being passed by frickin' boats. There must be a fishing tournament on. Maybe they're all heading towards Kununurra. Yep, there's about 4 or 5 boats all in a row, all just decided they want to go past because they're obviously in a hurry. That's fine, guys. Carry on. About 38 k's outside of Augathella and 470 from Longreach. Often discuss my distaste for people in the planning industry, and especially ones who plan roads. We are now in these signs that with the yellow is a fatigue zone sign, right? And it says, take a rest. The unfortunate thing about it is there are no bloody resting places on these roads. They are very, very few and far between, as I have said before, and their idea of having a rest is to play a trivia game. Well, who the hell do they think is going to play trivia games when they're half asleep? Put in some more rest areas, you wallies. Okay, we have cattle on the road ahead, grazing the long paddock. There's the Mr. Farmer on his quad bike watching them. Must be hard, it is so dry. camper in the campsite at Orcathella. Now heading up towards a place called Tambo and then on to Longreach and Winton. Lovely morning, yes, yet again. Sunny, going to be about 24. From here, Mount Isa is 1,077 kilos. It's pretty heavy town. This is still called the A2, and it's now been named, or it's been named for a while, the Landsborough Highway. Quite a pleasant drive. This little bit of the Landsborough Highway, there was a sign back there said 7 kilometres of reasonably sort of rough road, and what they're meaning here is it's quite undulating and you sort of driving along thinking it's a nice smooth road when all of a sudden you hit a slight depression and you're bouncing up and down like a yo-yo. I don't know whether it shows up on the GoPro. The other thing that I'm fighting now is a bit of a crosswind, and I can hear the wind in the wires on the stuff that I've got on the roof of the vehicle. But there's a vista. This is the Lake Eyre Basin. This is where all the water, I believe, sinks underground and joins the Great Artesian Basin. Wide open, flat. Little place called Tambo. Tambo, the oldest town in the Central West. First Qantas crash site. I didn't know Qantas had crashes. We will be going straight through to Blackbutt. Pull in and have a cup of coffee. Oh, there's a nice little table and chairs. We'll use that. Okay, coffee time. Well, I just had a nice little cup of coffee, but now I've got to get rid of the flies that follow you into the car, which we shall do. Go flies. Okay, we can push up there. That's a nice little rest stop, that one. Actually, not a 24-hour one, but very comfortable. 2 sets of chairs, water, a toilet. Brilliant. There's a bustard. I just missed a bustard on the side of the road. Big, huge bird. Actually, it's a wonder that guy never collected it. It was right on the edge of the road. And here's another one. Apparently, in 1846, this is the Barcoo River is 1 kilometre on the right. Major Mitchell, for whom the famous white cockatoos were named, explored this area. 1846. And this is going to be the Barcoo River. Mentioned in a few poems. There's not an awful lot of it. Obviously not in flood. However, we've crossed the Barcoo. We're approaching the historic town of Blackbutt, which is this side of the Black Stump, I think. I don't know. Anyway, it's an alleged historic town, and they're doing some road work, so I'm coming into town at the speed of less than 50 k's an hour. There's the Toogoolawah Motel on the left. Daisy Street. I think we're going to enter the central business district. The Barcoo Butchery. The Barcoo Hotel. The Barcaldine is a bit further up the track. Australian Labour Federation. So that's Blackbutt. We're heading north to Barcaldine. Just passing through an area called Douglas Ponds, and there is no water, but I'd imagine that during a flood it'd probably be quite spectacular. Anyway, Douglas Ponds. Well, we're still on the Landsborough Highway. I'm now about 157 from Longreach, but not that far from Barcaldine, so hopefully we'll be pulling in there shortly, and then I have to decide whether to push on for the rest of the day or find somewhere to camp. Here is my left turn. Australian Workers Heritage Centre. I think this was actually this town in which the Australian Labor Party was formed. There is something that tells me there's something to do with the unions and probably shearers. Anyway, that's a thing I'll have to look up now. We've got a bit of a warning on the road up here. Caution, where are we going? Barcaldine to Longreach is open. Winton to Cloncurry is caution. Okay. Well, we won't be in Winton. We're heading for Longreach, and I might stay there overnight. And I'll find out about the Winton to Cloncurry road with caution. And now on the Matilda Way. Well, we've left Barcaldine, and now all the people who were stopped there decide that they want to pass me, but that's fine. and it's pretty uninteresting country. And as I look on my HEMA iPad thing, I see that I now have my inward route and my outward route from Queensland going closer and closer to the intersect point, which will be somewhere on the Barkley Highway, probably day after, maybe tomorrow sometime, depends on which way I decide to go. Anyway, that's an interesting little fact, and it's very uninteresting country now. It's this flat, well, I can't say it's pasture land, but I suppose if they got rain you could call it that. Anyway, we'll get back to you. I've got a cattle truck behind me now, and he's going to want to pass, so I'm trying to just maintain my speed so that he can get a good run at me, but I don't know whether he's that keen now. Probably sees this car coming over the ridge and doesn't think that he's got enough room. I was once told by a truck driver who used to deliver the loads to Woolies that just maintain the same speed that you're doing and the trucks will do the rest. They are a lot higher up in the air than we are. So I'm just trying to maintain this constant speed so he doesn't have to drop back. And my speed is about 90. And I've got him in my rear view mirror. Unfortunately for him, there's caravans on this road coming down from Longreach towards Barkley. And that sort of complicates it for these guys who are trying to go. Now I'm backing off to let him get past. There we go, safely done. Some may ask why I don't just speed up. Well, the point is I'm doing a 100 on my speedo, which equates to about 90, and I'm at 2.5 or 2,250 revs, and I don't really want to go any faster because that just eats into the juice. And this guy passed me earlier in the day. And here's another one. You can see how they belt along. He shouldn't be passing at all, that clown there. But they're all in such a bloody hurry. I can't understand some of these idiots, and no wonder there's deaths on the road. He's going right up the crest of a hill to pass that road train. For what? He's not going to save any more time. I mean, the guy in front passed me early this morning in that Navara STX, and I'm still ahead of him. He had to pass me again. I'm going to have a bit of lunch here between about 30 k's outside of Barkley, somewhere in the outback. Having a bit of a coffee, and I've got 2 boiled eggs, which I conveniently boiled this morning. God, they're stuck to the damn thing, and that's okay. We can peel them and we'll throw our rubbish away. Lovely, but the flies are bad. And this is my lunch spot. There is the beast parked over there. There's not an awful lot of shade except for this thing. And then we have toilets. Very good. This is one of the better class of truck stops, let's say, on the road, the Landsborough Highway. Coming into Ilfracombe, which is 27 k's outside of Longreach. Tidy Town winner 2003. where's the amount of what's going on? There's caravans everywhere. Crikey. May not get sleeping in Longreach at all tonight. That caravan seems to be in an awful hurry. He's from WA, so maybe he's in a hurry to get home. That's if he ever makes it. So we're coming into Longreach, which is famous for being the birthplace of Qantas, the airline, and I can see in the distance a Qantas aeroplane off to the right, and it's probably one of the aircraft named the city of Longreach. We shall see in a tick. Yep, it certainly has that distinctive tail. It's a 747, and I think it is the old city of Longreach. Like an old constellation there too. Lockheed Constellation perhaps by that tail fin. And the Stockmans Hall of Fame is on the left. Qantas Founders Outback Museum on the right. That's it there. Yep, it is an old constellation. Oh wow, they've got a few in there. Well, I'm at the Qantas Museum in Longreach, standing under the wing of a 747, which I thought would have been the city of Longreach, but it's not. It's actually the city of Bunbury. Well, there you go. And we'll have a little walk around here, because over here is a very famous aeroplane in the background. A constellation, super constellation. And over there in the background is the 707, and that's the aeroplane that I first flew to London on in 1972. Not that exact aeroplane, obviously, but one very similar. Amazing. And that is the super constellation. Wow, how airlines and aircraft have changed in the day. I flew to London and back on a couple of times on one of these. They're a beautiful big aeroplane. This aeroplane actually appears to have an extra engine slung under the wing, and I did read somewhere about one of these, whether it was to transport an engine somewhere or even get it up to here. Amazing. Anyway, and this is probably a DC-3. Australian Stockmans Hall of Fame. I'm just driving through the driveway. Just pull in here for a minute. I couldn't come to Longreach without actually coming and visiting the building itself. It's not open. Doesn't open till 9. But anyway, here I am in the grounds first thing before the tourist hordes arrive. And we're heading towards Winton today. The Beast and I. Okay, off to Winton now. First we have to exit the Stockmans Hall of Fame heritage site, whatever they call it. There's a lot of roadworks happening on this Landsborough Highway right at the moment. I just passed a 5 kilometre stretch, and now this one here